The Great Sphinx is among the Earth's greatest cultural mysteries. In the 1930s, self-styled prophet Edgar Cayce predicted that the secrets of the Sphinx would be revealed sometime in the 1990s, and Cayce, it turns out, may have been right.
There is no more powerful emblem of the mystery of the past than the Great Sphinx of Egypt.
According to ancient Egyptian mythology, the Sphinx was a living being with a human head and the body of a lion. Those who dared approach the Sphinx were presented with a riddle, and those who could not solve it were destroyed. Like its mythological counterpart, the Great Stone Sphinx in Egypt poses an ancient riddle for humankind. Who built it and why? And now there is a new challenge in the riddle of the Sphinx. Not only is the how and why of the Sphinx being called into question, but also the when. Could this great monument predate Egypt, predate, in fact, all known civilizations? Edgar Cayce thought so. He was an American mystic, one of the most accurate of all modern psychics. Known as the sleeping prophet, Cayce's revelations, while in a trance-like state, fill hundreds of volumes and are housed at his foundation in Virginia Beach. During a series of readings in the 1930s, Cayce prophesied at length about the monuments on the Giza Plateau, revealing what he believed to be the origin of the Sphinx.
It was like he was in the deep unconscious mind, and he was accessing the universal consciousness that contained all wisdom. And when they asked him specifically about ancient Egypt, he said that this place was built in the year 10,500 BC. And that these dates would be supported somewhere around 1998.
Mainstream archaeologists date the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid at Giza to 2500 BC, when they were built to honor the pharaohs of the 4th dynasty. Cayce's date of 10,500 BC is dismissed by mainstream science, but a few researchers are coming forward, as Cayce predicted, to support his unorthodox view.
I could see that in the geology lay the key to this total reversal of history.
John Anthony West is a self-described rogue Egyptologist. He believes that the pattern of erosion on the Sphinx rules out the mainstream date of 2500 BC.
In a nutshell, the theory is that the Sphinx has been weathered by water, and specifically by rain falling down over the plateau over many thousands of years. You look at the Sphinx and you see that it's this rounded profile with deep fissures going down the rock face. This can only be produced by rainfall falling over the plateau.
Rain erosion in the Sahara is impossible now. But before 10,000 BC, this part of Africa was a fertile grassland. So, West points out in his book, if the Sphinx has been eroded by water, it must date back before 10,000 BC. The same conclusion, using different evidence, has also been reached by authors Robert Bauval and Graham Hancock. Help us understand the mirror image of the monuments at Giza and the sky at certain points in time, because that's key to understanding the entire concept you're putting forward.
There is only one time where the image of the sky locks with the image on the ground. And this occurs, and only occurs, in 10,500 BC.
Bauval and Hancock have discovered that the Egyptian sky in 10,500 BC bears an uncanny resemblance to the layout of the monuments on the Giza Plateau.
10,500 BC, this is when the Sphinx is gazing directly at his own image, the constellation of Leo. And if we are to turn 90 degrees and face due south, we would see the 3 stars of Orion's belt in a pattern that mimics exactly the pattern of the pyramid on the ground. So we have here a perfect conjunction taking place only and only in 10,500 BC.
But history books teach us that in 10,500 BC, our human ancestors were still in a primitive state, incapable of the advanced astronomical and engineering skills necessary to build great monuments.
We're suggesting that the entire foundation on which our notion of human history rests is faulty. The evidence is beginning to suggest to us that a whole chapter is missing from the human story, that all the legends of a great lost civilization that haunt the myth memories of mankind may be
true. One thing is for sure, there was an enormous, horrendous cataclysm at the end of the last ice age, and this brings us to that date of 10,500 BC that we focus on in the monuments. Something happened to the world at the end of the last ice age of sufficient magnitude to have wiped out a whole civilization, and what we're arguing is that the traces of that lost civilization may be what confronts us at Giza.
The new findings of West, Boval, and Hancock support Casey's 60-year-old predictions to the letter. Even more startling is another one of Casey's early prophecies, that the record of a lost civilization would be found in a hidden chamber under the left paw of the Sphinx. In May of 1993, just such a chamber was found. It has yet to be opened.
Edgar Casey said that the lost records of Atlantis would be found in a chamber between the paws of the Sphinx. Our seismographs detected a chamber between the paws of the Sphinx. What's in that chamber, absolutely we don't know. But certainly our findings seem to corroborate certain of his key prophecies.
He prophesied that that hall of records would be found again and would be opened between 1996 and 1998.
If there is a hall of records, and there's something in there, what do you think it is?
We think that all the indications suggest that a time capsule was deliberately concealed at Giza in Egypt with the intention that it should be found one day, a time capsule that would abolish all ambiguity over this matter and make it absolutely certain of what had gone before and of what we have forgotten. But a time capsule that was not intended to be found by barbarians, that was hidden away very carefully to be found, as the ancient texts say, by the fully worthy. Perhaps that's who we are. Perhaps that time has come. Perhaps that's the decision and the awe-inspiring prospect that we confront in the near future.
The right to open the chamber under the paws of the Sphinx is something of a political game these days, and the Egyptian government is holding all the cards. Only they know when and if the secrets of the Sphinx will be revealed to the world.